and be proud of what it is. All right, culture, resilience, and leadership. These are kind of the three areas we're going to talk on today. This Empowering the Iowa Girl program, we have resources that are all on our website, but I'm going to just kind of touch on each one of them. We have some handouts that you're more than welcome to grab afterwards that we'll kind of talk through as we go through, but I also want to be a little bit efficient here as you move through so we don't get bogged down in any one particular topic. But the biggest thing I want you to take away from tonight is be transformational, not transactional. Okay? And so that's our overriding theme with the whole Empowering the Iowa Girl program. Accountability, communication, leadership, parents, culture, teamwork, work ethic, and resilience. Those are all playbooks we have under the umbrella of the Empowering the Iowa Girl. So if you go to the IGHSAU website, you go to our foundation, you can get our educational programming, and each one of those topics has its own playbook. So it's something parents, if you're like, hey, I want to work on work ethic, you can go through there. There's content, there's handouts, there's questions, there's all type of information on those different playbooks there. But at the end of the day, it's about being transformational and not transactional. So what is transformational? What does that mean? What's the difference between being a transformational student or athlete or a transactional? What do you think? Ponder that over a second and share with the person beside you what you think it is. Go ahead and share with the person beside you. That way you don't have to shout it out in front of everybody. What do you think the difference between transformational and transactional is? All right. Who wants to take a shot at it? If you look at the root word up there, it kind of helps, doesn't it? Transform. So what's it mean to be a transactional athlete? Let me give you an example. I play club basketball, so I should start on the varsity team. I showed up every day to weights, so I should play more than someone else. I did this, so I should get this. Is that the type of person you want to be around? That's a transactional athlete. That's somebody that is doing something and they feel like they should deserve. It's a transaction. It's like they paid for this, so they should get this. And if you have a transactional mindset, you're just setting yourself up for failure, because the one thing that school-based activities do for us that we often forget, it's preparing us for that next stage of life. So for example, when I had an asset I sold at state volleyball, and I had a partner from Corville called me the other day, furious about it. How could you sell that? How could you? I've got to have the conversation. If I was being transactional, I'd put up my shield. I'd been defensive right away. And I said, hey, this isn't your problem. I mean, I could have taken it a million different routes. But instead, don't argue the problem, solve it. So I had a conversation. I had a conversation with the other partner. And we worked out an agreement that benefited both. And everybody came out happy from it. But that's a lesson I learned not from doing my job. That's a lesson I learned in college when I was told I wasn't good enough. That's when I said, okay, I can make excuses or I can step up. Okay, so be transformational. Don't think that you're going to get something just because you did this. And most importantly, be transformational as an athlete, as a teammate, and most importantly, as a person. Because at the end of the day, it's how we interact with people that's going to take us far in life and move us along. So, we're going to dive into culture a little bit here. Culture is our collective norms and habits. And when we put our culture into action, it defines our character. Okay? So when you think of norms and habits, it's kind of a catch-22, because everyone really likes to talk about culture. You hear that all the time. Hey, we got great culture on our team. Oh, we got. Do you? And so if you really want to get honest about what is the culture here in your school, what is the culture within your team, it's got to come from within. Coaches can state it, coaches can say it, but if it's not being held to a high standard on the team, is that really good culture? Now, we can also say we've had bad culture. 26 years, I've been on some football teams where the coaching hasn't changed a whole lot. Well, yeah, it has. But we've had years with great culture. We've had years with not so good a culture. Okay, and so as coaches, we got to constantly look at that and constantly try to build that. We graduated last year on our football team, 20-some seniors. We had a lot of kids we sent off to Division III, Division II, and a couple Division I. And this class coming in didn't have real strong leadership, didn't have a really strong culture. Okay, and so this year has been, how do we continue to develop that? It's not going to happen overnight, but it's something that you continue to work on and continue to move forward. So this is a little clip here, and one of the things with the Empowering the Girl program I do is we interview a variety of coaches and athletes under the IGHSAU umbrella. And so at the end of the interview, we always ask them, all right, what is your hot take on culture, on accountability, on leadership? And so the first one up here is Audie Crooks, and then you'll see Coach Jungers, Newell Fonda, there's about 4 or 5 other ones on there, but I just want you to listen. They're going to tell you what culture is to them.
I think culture is the way that you approach living your life. Culture is how you treat people, how you expect to be treated, what you say, how you say it. Just the way that you do the things that you do in everyday life, and doing that to a higher standard, doing it to a standard that suits the people that's around you. You know, on a team, your culture's got to be positive. You know, you got to be able to communicate. You got to trust one another and build that foundation.
Culture to me is a huge part of not only any sport, but especially wrestling. It's how your team gets along. It's how you get along with your team. Culture is just overall the foundation of any program, and you're not going to have a successful program, or in your eyes a successful program, whether that means you're winning state or you're just going out there and having a great season, whether that's winning or not winning. You know, culture is how the girls have a good time.
Yeah, culture. Very important. You know, each conversation you have with a player, the team, are you emphasizing what you expect within your culture? If you want it to be a positive culture, are you displaying positivity? If you want a hard work ethic, are you displaying that as well? So everything that you want within your program, are you modeling it? Are you creating it? And I think the big thing is putting that on paper. You know, what do you want with your culture? What are your goals with that? And what does that mean for you as a coach? And then what do you want that to look like for the people, your assistant coaches, the people within your program? I've been blessed over the years with great assistant coaches. They bought in, they understand, and you know, it's the people within your program that create the success.
Culture is everything. I don't know that there's ever been a great team with a very bad or poor culture in the locker room. That's what I say culture is. Culture is that feel in the locker room. When you're not on the court, how does everybody around you feel?
What's 1 or 2 things that you felt you did well to help the culture in high school and or college?
I think to help the culture, I mean, mostly things I did were hold people and myself accountable at a high level, and kind of protect the sacred of the dream that we all had to go on and do big things as a team. Sometimes that's uncomfortable, and sometimes that's also just getting in the locker room and laughing with people.
So, when you look at culture, it is definitely something that runs the gauntlet, okay? Coaches might say one thing, players might say another thing, but what are you doing within the culture? Because another thing that happens within that is there's the accountability piece. Maddie Manning was the last one up there. Maddie Manning graduated from Ankeny. She was a volleyball, track, basketball, went to the University of Oklahoma. The University of Oklahoma, she ended up starting as a freshman and blew out her knee. There goes that year. She comes back for her second year, okay? Season gets going again, things looking good, blew out her other knee. So 2 ACL surgeries her first 2 years at the University of Oklahoma. And it would have been very easy to quit. And she'll tell you that. And I had a long conversation with her after I interviewed her, and she was a former student of mine. And Maddie said it was faith and friends and her teammates that got her through it. And so though she didn't have an active role that freshman, sophomore year, and that junior year she had to fight back, it's the culture of that program that kept her engaged. It's the culture of those around her that said, hey, Maddie, you can do this. I'm here for you. And she has a comment she makes later, if they know they love you, they'll do anything for you. Okay? That's the kind of culture kids want to be around. Not something when things don't go right or things are going bad and everyone's pointing fingers and everybody's yelling, everybody's barking. That's going to create drama. And drama is a killer. I hate drama. Okay? So, One of the things I do when I come to school is talk about culture. I get on social media. I take a look. I see what's going on. 2025 qualifiers, okay, volleyball, game day experience. And social media it's good and bad, okay? And I'm probably more so on the parent side with this right now. Culture, Theodore Roosevelt said years ago, comparison is the thief of joy. Okay, so think about that quote. Comparison is the thief of joy. When you young ladies get on social media, are you comparing yourself? Oh, look what they had. Oh, look what they get. Oh, look where they're going. Oh, look at this trip. That's stealing your joy. Okay, so don't dive into social media from a lens of, I want that. Okay? Think about what you have in the gratitude. And if your culture on your program is gratitude, I'm thankful I have this opportunity. Basketball. Was it 2 years ago, 3 years ago we didn't have a basketball team here? 2 years ago. Last 2 seasons. This year we're back at it, correct? Do you think there's some young ladies in this community that would have had great gratitude to have a basketball program last 2 years? So take advantage of that opportunity. Have gratitude. Don't compare yourself to this school. Don't compare yourself to this person. So social media, use this to celebrate the team. Use this to celebrate your culture. And be active in it. It is something that's part of our society. And I'll be completely honest with you, the Girls Union, we started running our social media accounts, and we even got, what do they call that, TikTok? Okay? And I think I tried posting a TikTok on the way to bowling here about 2 years ago, and it took me about 20 minutes. And finally, they're like, you know what? Our interns, they know it. They get it done. And I think our interns put up 80 posts during state softball. They get it. They can tell that story. But use that, empower that, and have your teams. How are you going to use social media to promote the culture, to promote the program, and most importantly, promote this school as you're going through? Now, the big thing with culture is your stated values and your operational values. Can anybody give me an idea of what the difference between stated values and operational values? And this is a big one. I am notoriously late for everything in my life. Okay, I almost think I have a disorder in that I like the pressure and the excitement of trying to get there just in time. Okay, it's my own fault. Drives my wife nuts. When I was still teaching, my coaching career was the opposite. I started out as a varsity D coordinator at Mason City High School when I was about 22, 23. We're playing Valley, we're playing all the big boys. I was young, and youth kind of makes up in terms of your effort. In some of those instances, we had Horner, some good kids coming through, and then I get to Ankeny and I go back to the freshman level. Then I went to sophomore level, and now I'm on the Coach Lineberg's varsity. But anyway, the point of it was this. When I got the head sophomore job, all of a sudden now, one of my values, rule number 1, protect the team. Simple. Rule number 1 is protect the team. Well, what does that mean? Well, that means be on time. That means show up. That means be ready. That means all those things. Okay, high school kids, I don't need to give you rule number 1, rule number 2, rule number 3, rule number 1, protect the team. That was our rule, period. So if I'm going to expect kids, if I'm going to state the value is showing up on time, what's it look like if I'm the coach and I'm showing up 10 minutes late? You see the difference? Stated values, yeah, we can say that. I can throw that out there. This is our value, this is our culture. Operational is those action items in action. So if I'm not going to show up on time, are you going to show up on time? So for the 2 years as a head sophomore football coach, that's probably the only time in my life I was not late once in 2 years to practice, to the weight room, because that was the culture I was trying to create, and I had to model that. Now, did that mean I had to hold people accountable? That's the tough thing. Accountability is what keeps your culture going. So I had to sit some kids. Hey, you were late. You're not playing. We had a young man, Jerry Pizzetti still blames me for the Urbandale loss. I did not start a senior, Zach English, at linebacker, because he had missed a class, and I said, you missed another class, you're not starting. Well, are you going to be operational with your values, or are you just going to state them? So that's something you got to think about. So the accountability piece, what's important with this is how do we handle that as a team? If you're coming late to practice, and that's a stated value, we're going to be on time, and you show up late again, and you 3 girls come over and you go, why are you late to practice? What are you doing? This is what we said. Is that helping the situation? Because what's going to happen, right? You're going to get defensive. Well, Okay, so how we interact with one another. Instead of saying, hey, I noticed you're late for practice today. Can I pick you up? Can I give you a ride? How can I help you? Is that a different tone than just attacking her for being late? Now, does it continue to happen? What happens then? Well, now we got to get the coach involved. With me, now we take it to another level. But if the culture is coming from within that team, if that operational culture is happening here, that's where things are going to go well. So, as you go through that as a program, coaches, players, communicate with that. Talk about it. And if it's something that you feel is starting to drift away, call a team meeting. Hey, coach talked about this as one of our stated values. What are we doing to support that? How are we doing to make sure that is an operational value? Now, if we go in depth, and this is one of the resources on there, Empowering Our Girl, and this is something that we do with Centennial Football is kind of my guinea pig for all the Empowering Our Girl program. I got to take the pink off it, though, and I got to change the colors a little bit. Otherwise, guys get a little bit, what's this all about? Start, stop, continue, improve. As a coach, be honest with your team at the beginning of the year. Is there something you think we should start? Is there something within our program that we think is important that we should start that we're not currently doing? Stop. There's always something that a head coach feels really great about. Oh, this is wonderful. And then the rest of the team and the assistants are all like, no, it's not, okay? Well, have that conversation. Stop. What's something you think we should stop? And have evidence to support it. Why? Why do you think someone should stop? Continue. What's something we can continue? And then obviously improve. Is there something that we can do to improve? And so if you have that conversation as a team, you have that conversation with your coaches, and together you can move forward and you can develop your culture because now everybody has buy-in. Team culture check-in, team culture praise, team culture polish. Okay, what is it that we're doing really well? What is it that we are stated as a value and we are really crushing it in this area? On the flip side, what is it that we're not? What about our culture are we not doing that we need to polish, that we need to clean up? And at the end of the day, then, Sibley-Ocheyedan culture. You define it. Now, are there some of those stated items that are non-negotiable? Meaning the coach is going to pick those? For example, showing up, going to school, being on time? Absolutely. But are there a lot of those components that a conversation can happen with the players, and coaches, and even parents invested? Okay? Before we move on from this, what's an example, do you think, of parents, student athletes, and culture? Maddie Manning, on the interview, one of the questions I asked her is parents. Maddie, what's your advice on parents? She goes, my number one advice is it's not their journey. It's not your journey. Now, as a parent, and I've been through this, it's hard at times. My daughter, her senior year at Centennial, she was a volleyball, basketball, track at Centennial. Was getting recruited. She got offered a one-year scholarship at the University of St. Thomas, Minnesota. They had just transitioned from D3 to D1. And that night was she accepted that on a Monday. Tuesday was the Ankeny Centennial match. It's the biggest match in town. And she's having a great year. The set is outside the pin. She goes up, try to hit a cross. She goes down, it doesn't get up. So I go back in the training room, and Liv's back there with the Ankeny trainer, and he's like, well, it feels kind of loose, but I don't know. And so I'm like, hey, Liv, can you do an approach? Yeah, I think so. Well, let's see it. She jumped. Perfect. Do it again. She jumped. I said, you good? She goes, yeah, I'm good. I said, all right, flush it. Let's roll. Now, this is when my wife says, Taylor, okay, a long ways from the heart is not what the kids need to hear every time they get a boo-boo, okay? But she goes out. Coach Reinhardt checks her in. She goes to give Ella Becker high five. Down goes Frazier. She had blown her ACL and her meniscus. Senior year, done. That was on a Tuesday. On a Friday, she got homecoming queen. So she had the high of highs, the low of lows, a high, and then she went to every basketball practice. She went to every track practice. She went to every game, everything. I'm most proud of her, not in what she's accomplished as an athlete or as a student. I'm most proud of her and how she's handled adversity. And the reason she handled adversity was the culture on that team. It's Jess Reinhardt. It's Coach DeYoung. It's Andrew Kruzik, her track coach. She missed her entire senior year, but she was a part of it. And what she learned, and there was tough times, and I told her that first night, and we talked a lot about it. I'm like, Liv, hey, have a pity party. Be pissed, be upset, be sad for 5 minutes. Then flush it. You're not defined by your actions just in the court. You're defined by the type of person you are. And those lessons are hard to learn. But what helped her was the culture on that team. It was the teammates coming over, bringing her supper. It was the teammates in surgery, hey, checking on her. It's the coach coming by. It's the basketball coach starting her on senior night when she's got a brace just after surgery. And the officials blow the gym, and there must have been onions in the gym that night. So, that was a rough one. But that's part of her journey. And as a parent, it was tough. And I'd tell her time, I said, Livy, I hate that you're going through this, but I love that you're going through this. Well, Dad, what's that mean? How many times can we apply that to our daughters opposed to saying, well, coach doesn't like you. Well, you should be playing more than that person. Well, why is this person this? Instead, I hate that you're going through this right now, but I love that you're going through it. Because what are they learning? Resilience, adversity. There's always a shining light. I used to joke when I was teaching, the 3 reasons people teach, number 1, they hate kids, can't stand them. Number 2, the money, they just get so filthy rich. Okay, number 3 is summer. Okay, number 3 might be a legit reason. But teachers and coaches are in for it, not because they're trying to pick on someone, or they're in for it because of the kids. And so as parents, we got to be in for it for the kids. Don't focus on the playing time. Don't focus on the wins, losses. Focus on what's your child learning. I came from a terrible high school football program, but I had a coach that cared and loved me, made all the difference in the world, and helped me through that transition to college. Okay? So, culture, parents, take an active role in it. Always take a deep breath when a daughter comes home. I can't tell you how many times I've had an email from a parent. If it's after 10 o'clock, I debate even opening it, but I still do. And it's something that if you just kind of sit on a while and think about it, and then just get more information. Let your daughter have her pity party. Let her vent. Get it out. And then flush it and then say, hey, I hate that you're going through this. How can we grow from it? How can we be transformational? And I think you'll find that helps not only the culture at home, but it's going to help the culture in the school and part of your program. So again, be transformational, growth as an athlete, teammate, and a person. Resilience. Perfect lead-in. The definition of resilience is up here, the capacity to withstand or to recover quickly from difficulties. Is mental health an issue in our society? Absolutely. We all know someone that's going through a tough time that's had to deal with mental health issues. But I also think in our society, we're too quick to try to fix something. Okay? We got to struggle. You got to go through tough times. And that's what I said earlier. You're in a place right now where you can take that tough path, you can try something new, and if you fail, do you have a support group around you? Do you have your parents, your teachers, your coaches? Would you rather learn that now, resilience, than being a freshman or sophomore in college and something doesn't go right, and all of a sudden now you're on an island? Okay, and the other thing with it is, what action item? We'll kind of get into that here a little bit, but with resilience, the capacity to withstand and recover quickly from difficulties. Continuously accepting and responding whatever unfolds, even if it's not ideal, perfect, or preferred. So there's 2 things here, USA and USA. Number 1, unconditional situational acceptance. And number 2, unconditional self-acceptance. And if we can have those 2 things, we can be response able. There is a split second when something goes wrong. There's a split second where if you flush your emotion and you think about the issue, you have that chance to be response able. If you let the emotion get involved, now we're not doing that, okay? So how is this practical? How does this come into play? Well, if you think about volleyball, I got some volleyball players in here. Any of you an outside hitter? No? Maybe? Outside? Okay, I want you to visualize, what is the perfect set? What is the perfect set? Can you see it? How high you like it, where you like it in relationship to the net. And when you get that perfect set, what happens? Kill it, right? How often do you not get the perfect set? Quite often. Anybody watch that World? That's great. Anybody watch that World Series last night? I fell asleep 3 times. Every time I woke up, it was still on, okay? How many times does that pitcher, that batter think that's the perfect pitch I'm looking for, and how many times does it not happen? Okay, so at the end of the day, we've got from the small example of that, we got to have unconditional situational acceptance. We're not going to have that perfect scenario. We're not going to have that perfect pregame. We're not going to have that perfect test. We're not going to have those perfect situations that happen in life. We're not going to have the perfect season. But you have to have unconditional situational acceptance. Accept it for what it is and be responsible. As a person, we're not going to have that perfect, what we want to hear. We're not going to have the situation where, yeah, I'm the starter, I'm the all-state, or I'm the all-conference. That's not going to happen. Have unconditional self-acceptance. Be responsible in when you're looking at a situation. They did a study. They said, okay, when you take the top, was it 5 golfers out of the top 20 in the world? Okay, you with me? Top 5 golfers out of the top 20 in the world. What separates them from the rest? It wasn't how many weights they lift. It wasn't how many swings they get. It was what they tell themselves in the moment. What they tell themselves when it doesn't go their way. So in that golfer, if it was me on the PGA Tour, I'd probably hit the third person. I mean, it'd be bad. Okay? When they swing and have a bad shot, the top 5 golfers say, I can't believe I'm playing on the tour. Boy, I'm going to get on the next one. I just need to keep my head down a little bit more. Versus, God, this, blah, blah, blah. And what they discovered is when you have a negative response, when your response, your emotion lets it control it, what happens to your heart rate? It goes up. If that's happening time and time and time again, you're draining energy both mentally and physically without even knowing it. You ever have coaches say, hey, body language, body language, body language, hey, energy. That's where it's coming from. So if you don't have that perfect set and you're like, oh, you need a... Is that getting your heart rate up, and are you losing energy in a negative way? Versus, hey, let's get the next one. Okay, what can I do? Hey, let's come into practice a little early and get some more sets. So having that unconditional situational acceptance and that unconditional self-acceptance and being response-able to the situation. Now, real quick, we're not going to go through, I'm just going to go through this with you. This is one of the handouts I do with kids when we talk about resilience. So to yourself, I want you to think about, number 1, your greatest accomplishment. Think in your head here, what is your greatest accomplishment? What is it that you're most proud of what you've done? Okay? Number 2, hardest event you have endured. Hardest event you have endured. Number 3, what gives you anxiety? What gives you anxiety? And finally, number 4, what gives you the greatest joy? What is it that gives you the greatest joy? And this can be in any aspect of life. It can be school, it can be home, it can be whatever. Cause, event, and effect. For every event, there's a cause on the front of it, and there's an effect. Because when you answer those 4 questions, the first 2 are pretty easy to answer. Well, I shouldn't say that. The first and last one, correct? Greatest accomplishment? Yeah. Gives you the greatest joy? Yeah. Middle 2, kind of tough, right? Kind of tough. So, when you flip the sheet over now, your greatest accomplishment, what lesson did you learn? And this is where I have the students circle that, identify it. Did you learn self-discipline? Did you learn commitment? Did you learn effort, follow-through, compete, work ethic, attitude? Hardest event you've endured? Did you learn grit, tough, humbled, motivated, perspective, courage, perseverance, determination? What gives you anxiety? What action did you take? Habits, practice, exercise, and the greatest joy, what passion did that fuel? Dream, purpose, vision, or goals? When you look at those situations where anxiety takes over, and anxiety is normal, people, it happens to everybody. What action item? When you're alone, when you're tired, when you're hungry. Those are 3 triggers. I don't care who you are. Those are the 3 triggers that trigger anxiety in people. Okay? When you're alone, when you're tired, and you're hungry. So, if you know that situation's coming up and you feel that anxiety coming up, is it best to just sit in your space by yourself and just fester in that? No. What's the action? I'm worried about this test. Okay, guess what? Hey, 10 minutes, go study more. You know, we got a big game, I'm worried about shooting the ball. Hey, go shoot some free throws. I'm feeling a little bit of anxiety about, how this game's gonna, call up a teammate, talk it over. But when you sit in yourself and you just fester, that's not helping anything. And so be proactive when you feel that anxiety coming on. What action am I gonna take? And at the end of the day, Jocko Willnick's good. And anybody knows who Jocko is? He's a former SEAL, whatever, but he always talked about good. I didn't make the starting team. Good. Got injured. Good. Failed the test. Good. Because what do you have now? You got an opportunity. I got a young man named Owen Vernon. Owen Vernon graduated 4 years ago. Owen Vernon was a senior. He was a good linebacker, not great. He was a good wrestler, not great. His senior year, I benched him week 2. Started a sophomore over him. Benched 2 seniors. The one senior, the dad called that night, had a meeting, and that kid quit a week later. Okay? Not his journey. Owen Vernon never heard from the parents. To this day, I couldn't tell you who they are. Owen came up to me at practice next day. He's like, Coach, what do I got to do to get better, to get my job back? I said, well, Vernon, you know, your football IQ, you got to read better, you got to fit this, you got blah, blah, blah. Typical talk, correct? And Vernon said, all right. 2 weeks go by. He gets thrown in against Southeast Polk, makes a tackle for a loss, great effort play. Owen earned a spot back. Now, Owen's goal in life was to become a Navy SEAL. And he'd share this with me, and I was always like, yeah, buddy, you can do it. In the back of my head, I'm like, you know, bust a kid's dream, but hey, buddy, you're going to have to work hard. Well, Owen graduates from high school, joins the Navy, goes out to Chicago, that pre-SEAL training stuff, whatever. He kept in touch with me, and I get a call. Coach, I'm leaving for Buds. I'm like, Vernon, that's awesome, man. I said, hey, keep your eye on the prize. Win the day, okay? Don't think down, just win the day. Yeah. Coach, I'm excited, blah, 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 blah. Time goes by, I get a call. Coach, I did it. Huh? 30-some went in, 11 secured coming out of Hell Week. Owen was medically rolled during Hell Week. And what that means is Hell Week is phase 1. That's the one everyone hears about. And at the end of it, he had stress fractures in both his legs. He put on 20 pounds. I go, how do you put on 20 pounds in Hell Week? My body started retaining water. He was chafed from his elbow to his hip. He was in a terrible position. But he made it through Hell Week. He didn't quit. And he said, Coach, I said, what stopped you from ringing that bell? What was it? I didn't want people to say I couldn't do it. I just focused on myself. So medically rolled means that the next class comes through Buds, he goes up, there's 2 more weeks to finish. The 2 more weeks, you think you're through, you're not. That's when they put you in the water and they tie all the tanks and knots, and then you got to untie it, all that. Owen discovered he has a flap in his nose that doesn't close when he's underwater, and so he's drowning. So he failed the first 2 tests. Here he made it through Hell Week, fails the first 2 tests on the drowning proof, whatever. If he fails the 3rd time, he's out. He spent the weekend with a former SEAL that lived in San Diego that taught him how to drown, taught him how to be cool under pressure. Okay, comes back, passes it, then goes on to phase 2, then goes on to phase 3. Shuddy, another guy I coached with, we had said, hey, Vernon, you know, when you graduate from Buds, we're going to be out there. Well, he called us and he said, Coach, I'm graduating next Friday. Love for you guys to be there. Give us your information. I'll get you on the pass list. And I'm like, oh my gosh, yes. And it happened to be the same day we're playing Urbandale. We had to win to go to state if we don't win. And so our head coach wasn't really excited about 2 coaches leaving, so I was not able to make it out there. But long story short, Owen Vernon, SEAL Team 7. Great young man, comes back pheasant with us every year. But there's a kid that was response able. When he had adversity, was he resilient? Or did he look at that adversity as, poor me? There was 2 seniors I benched. 1 quit, 1 stepped up, and 1 is now a Navy SEAL, okay? So when you think about those moments, be response able and find the lesson in what's taking place. Acclimatizing, I'm not gonna go into great detail about this, but this is that whole concept of as you're going through your season, okay? You're gonna find moments at the beginning of the year, can we have mistakes? Absolutely. You can miss the shot, you can lose that game. You can step back and you can refocus. As that season gets on, the air gets thinner, correct? When the air gets thinner, there's less room for mistakes. So play free. Be you. The Peterson twins, when we interviewed them, one plays down at Louisville, one's at UNI. Bobby Peterson, their mom's UNI volleyball coach. And she said when she was in club volleyball, you know, she missed a swing. She's like, And the coach said, hey, there's no one on the team that I want to take that swing than you. Okay, pressure is a privilege. Have you heard that phrase? Okay, anybody know who started that? Billie Jean King. Billie Jean King, tennis player. Pressure is a privilege. And what that means is the reason there's pressure because people believe in you. If no one believed in you, there wouldn't be any pressure. Okay, so own that pressure. It's a privilege. It's an opportunity. Be in the moment. Be where you're at. And as you climb that mountain to the end of the season, and not only season, but the school year, if you got to take a step back and you got to refocus, you can do that. You can have that moment. And so that you're peaking at the right time of the year. Last thing within resilience here, fixed mindset, growth mindset. These are the 4 areas where a fixed mindset and a growth mindset is going to be important. Effort, challenges, mistakes, and feedback. Okay, what do I mean by that? Effort, challenges, mistakes, and feedback. First of all, what's a fixed mindset? What's a growth mindset? Is a fixed mindset kind of a transactional athlete? Is that kind of the same thing? Or a growth mindset? When I look back on my life, the times when I've been the most scared, the career changes, should I really be doing this? College, where am I going to go? What am I going to do? That's where that greatest growth came from. Okay, and there's still setbacks along the way. There's always going to be setbacks. But when you look at effort, challenges, mistakes, and feedback, and again, this comes into the playbook here, but that fixed mindset, by focusing on not losing, looking bad, or making mistakes, being abilities, something we are born with and that we cannot change, develop, or grow. Okay, that fixed mindset, it's going to get you in trouble. That's where by not putting out effort, by fearing, avoiding challenges, by being named, afraid of mistakes, and resenting or resisting feedback. The growth mindset, by giving diligent efforts, by embracing challenges, by building on mistakes, by valuing feedback. How are you going to grow? I share this with kids all the time, and I've believed this for years. You cannot coach puberty. What does that mean? Can't coach puberty. We all develop at different ages. Okay? So many kids, both boys and girls, quit before their moment ever comes. They might quit because, well, so-and-so plays club basketball, so I'm never going to be better than her. Well, so-and-so plays club volleyball, I'm never going to be better than her. Was that a fixed mindset or is that a growth mindset? Because what happens is you control you, your attitude, your effort. Effort's contagious. And so if we get into that mindset of, hey, this is an opportunity for me. Is there going to be a challenge? Absolutely, there's going to be a challenge. And you want that challenge. You want that ability to compete. But having that growth mindset is going to get you where you experience more joy, presence, focus, higher productivity, and pride in your accomplishment. Okay? And coaches, parents, resonate that at home. You didn't get started, okay. Hey, what a great opportunity. How's the team tonight? Did you work hard? My dad played 2 sports in high school, baseball and basketball. He graduated in 1958. They had fall baseball, they had spring baseball, and they had basketball. In the yearbook, his senior year at Ziering High School, there's 12 people on the basketball team. My dad is the only person in a different uniform than the other 11. What's that tell you about his athletic ability? He turned 16 his senior year of high school. Okay? Went to the military. So my dad had nothing about sports. Farmer growing up. I'd come back from practice. I'd be, how I do? He goes, hey, did you work hard? Well, yeah. Well, good. Let's go do chores. Well, did you follow through? Because when you're shoveling that manure out of the farrowing house, if you don't follow through, it's going to land behind the door, and that door is not going to open. So the point of it, I didn't have pressure at home. I had, did you work hard? Did you follow through? Those were the 2 things I had. And so when I went off to college, guess what? $180 from Ziering, Iowa, playing linebacker at Warburg. That wasn't a good start that freshman year. But I had work ethic, and I had follow through. I started, by golly, I'm going to finish it. Have that growth mindset. Don't get bogged down in something you can't control a month, 2 months, a week, 6 months from now. Control the moment. Be where your feet are. Be present in the moment. And how can I grow from this? How can I continue to be a transformational athlete? Sue Inquist. She's the head softball coach, former head softball coach at UCLA. Anybody familiar with her? UCLA softball program. They are the winningest program in history. Okay, she's going to talk about the power of a strong voice. Okay, so this is really that resilience, the kind of the last component within it. But there's a slide that's going to come up here when she's going to ask people, what does your weak voice tell you? And I want you to make sure you read those items and who those people are saying that.
All of us have a strong and a weak voice.
Valid question.
And we laugh because we really want to say, oh, heck no, I would not hate myself. And I knew part of my calling in retirement was I needed to go across the country and share with everybody. As somebody that I wasn't gifted, surrounded by people that taught me how to believe in myself, that coached the person, that allowed me to be in a position to affect others. But it wasn't until the end that I realized we all have a strong, unique voice in there. All of us do. And then the trick to getting to the top and staying on the top is to be able to manage that voice. Would you agree with them? Because they look like losers to me. But what I found in retirement, I wanted to go across all gender, go across all sports, and I wanted to find out everybody's dark side. And I asked them to write on your card all your unique voices. And there they are. But what I want the world to know, because many of you will not be, no offense, a 22-time national champion, an 11-time national champion. I want to give you things right now that you can walk out the door and know, to be able to say, that voice that you see up on the screen right now, that language that you see on the screen right now.
So if you look at those, emotionally not strong, I suck. 2013 NCAA national champion. I'm not good enough. I'm letting everyone down. I can't make another mistake. 2014 player of the year. Do we all have a weak voice? Do we all have that moment of doubt? Yeah, that's okay to feel that way. But don't let that be the last voice in your head.
That's a champion's language. But what's the trick? The trick is we understand we're evaluating that conversation all the time. That conversation that's going on in your head. All I'm asking you every single day from this day forward is to release your student athletes. Release them to be able to go, yeah, there are times when I can scramble eggs in my head. Create the environment where they feel safe to be able to go, whoa, it is messy up there. Help me. Because if you can show that champions have that weak voice, why did they become a champion and remain a champion? What do you feel like do? They got to the top. But more importantly, I work after what keeps you on top. And then the trick is you manage that strong weak voice in your head. You make a commitment to yourself from this day forward. I can't change the weak voice. And I can ask you to always let the strong voice get the last word. Doubt is a part of what fuels us. That's human nature to have that doubt. Let's stop being the coaches that say, you need to go out there, oh, UCLA. They're just so fearless. No. Everyone, no. I gotta pull back the curtain. No. There's a lot of fear. You're UCLA. You've been to the World Series every single year. Every single kid has a championship ring in the legacy of this program. No pressure. The only thing we have to be great on is our total student athletes every day. We must let the strong voice get the last word. And you do that drip, 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 Monday through Friday, Monday through Friday. It becomes natural. You see, culture, mindset, literacy doesn't happen at an event. We're not going to change your life. You are going to change the lives of others by drip, drip, drip. Be simple, be clear, be consistent in the message. And part of it is to be authentic. We have good days, bad days, strong and weak voices. Let's manage that. And if we do that, you're going to stay in your brain. And I love this sharp.
Stay in your brain. So what Sue's talking about there, the weak voice and the strong voice. And I don't care how old you are, you're still going to have that. Don't let the weak voice win. Don't give it the last word. Just one little habit like that, just developing that habit of having that positive note on the end of every tough situation. Parents, if we can help our kids develop resilience, it's the greatest thing you can get. I had a group, I talked to the Southeast Polk girls, the high school. We had about 75, 80 girls in there, and I was talking with one of the teachers afterwards. And I talked a lot about transformation, similar stuff we're doing here today. And he's like, you said that it's preparing you for life. Well, how does it? He said, give some more examples. I'm like, it's a valid point. So when you think about it, parents in this room here, have we had a weak voice moment in adulthood? Have we had a weak voice moment in college? Okay, the resilience you learn through school-based activities is going to help you thrive in those moments outside of high school. Not making the team is the end of the world. It's a great opportunity. Not starting doesn't mean it's a bad season. It's a great opportunity. How are you going to lead? How are you going to get done? And again, parents, John Lee, head football coach, Mason City, my first year up there, he started every parent meeting off with this. The second you reach out to me about your son or daughter's playing time, I no longer can fairly evaluate them. And he said that, and I was like, what? And I started thinking about it, and guess what? He's right. Now am I giving them an opportunity that's taken away from someone else because a parent got in my head? Or now am I not giving the opportunity to try to prove myself wrong against them? Versus your daughter coming up and saying, Coach, what do I got to work on? Now, obviously, if safety is an issue, yes, by all means, contact the coach and the AD right away. But when those moments come up, give your daughter a voice. Give her an opportunity. Hey, how are we going to work on this? What are we going to control? And don't let one part of your game impact the other. There's a coach that came out and talked about basketball. The player went like 1 for 8 and was miserable, terrible. He felt terrible after the game. Oh, I'm terrible. I'm not good, blah, blah, blah. And the coach goes, you took 8 shots. How many seconds did it take you to take 8 shots? I don't know, about 10 seconds. So you're going to let 10 seconds of a basketball game that you played the entire game impact how you feel about that game. Or instead, why don't you look at the amount of rebounds you had, the assists you had, the leadership you had on the court, how you brought everybody up. Okay? Don't let one part of your game impact the other. And have that strong voice get the last word. And again, be transformational, growth athlete, teammate, and a person. Last bit here, and I'm not going to dwell on this, but just that leadership component. And one of the things I always talk about students with, identify people you believe to be effective leaders. Identify 2 characteristics of each leader. And the reason I say this, we need more role models and heroes in our life. In our society today, we tend to run to the loudest voice. We tend to run to the biggest trend. We tend to run to turn on whether it's CNN, whether it's Fox, whether it's NBC, whatever. We tend to go to the loudest voice, correct? We need role models and heroes. We need people we can look up to. So, ladies in the room, identify 3. Have 3 role models and heroes. And then identify that characteristic. What about them do you respect? What about them do you look up to? And then develop your own ethos with those characteristics. And what I mean by that, and if I'm working with a small group, or we'll kind of do a deep dive into this, and we'll have kids share out when I do with some of the conference groups, and it's amazing when kids really dive into it, those individuals, parents, grandparents, teachers, coaches, teammates, upperclassmen, occasionally get the professional basketball player or Caitlin Clark, but typically it's people that are close to them because they're real. I grew up in the greatest era of basketball ever, late 80s, early 90s. Guys like Eddie Vasky, Jeremy DeWitt, Matt Rasmussen, Brad Miller. Anybody heard of these basketball players? They graduated from NESCO. But when I was a kid, they were gods. They were at church on Sunday. They worked the farm on the weekends. They gave me a high five when they came out on the court. And right now, you ladies are all that role model. And so have individuals you look up to and take that characteristic, then be you. Because right now, if you're a Sibley Cheaton senior, there was probably someone 3 or 4 years ago that graduated from here that you looked up to. Correct? Right now, there's 7th, 8th graders. There's a younger sibling. They're looking at you. They're not looking at your role models and heroes. So identify who those are and then take that characteristic and develop your own ethos. What standard are you going to hold yourself to? Because there's kids in the community that are looking at you. All right? And somebody is always watching. And the reason you always want to have at least 3, because it's a visual what can be accomplished. They can do this. I can do this. It gives you something when times are going tough. You think back to that role model, that hero, and you're like, hey, They did this. They went through this. They could overcome this. So can I. Okay? So have that in you. And then most importantly, and I always tell kids, if your role model is your mom, your dad, your grandma, your grandpa, your best friend, someone that's tell them. You know how much that means to somebody when someone comes up and says, hey, I don't know if you know this, but I really look up to you. You're a role model of mine. Whoa. Fill someone's bucket. Remember we mentioned that word gratitude earlier? If you demonstrate gratitude on a daily basis, it's going to fill your bucket. It becomes part of who you are. And the last thing here with that leadership component, because you are going to have with leadership, and I'm not going to dwell on this, but leaders sometimes they also get bullied. People don't like the kid that's always doing the right thing. You're going to have grit. You're going to have determination. You're going to have focus if you're going to really be a leader. Leader doesn't have to be the vocal one. Leader can also lead by their actions. But at the end of the day, our habits. Aristotle wrote, habit defines us. Before we pursue our higher purpose, before we have quality of character, we have habit. And so if you look at this little diagram, this is something I have. Oh, I always have the kids fill out, our football kids at Centennial, and also when I present to the groups. Big picture, what's the goal? Okay, basketball this year, what's the goal? Win conference, having a season, whatever the goal is, correct? Identify what is that team goal. In the middle, what are you going to do to be a part of that? What's your personal growth? What is it that you're going to do that's going to feed to that big picture? And then on the sides of there, what are 3 habits? What are 3 things I can do every day to go towards that goal? That might be something, if it's basketball, I'm going to make 10 free throws before I leave practice. Is habit number 1. Habit number 2, I'm going to show up on time every day to practice. Habit number 3, I'm going to express gratitude to 2 of my teammates every night after practice. Now, are those 3 astonishing habits that, oh my gosh, how can I do this? Or are those 3 wins you can have every day? If you can have 3 wins every day that fuels that personal growth, and if your whole team can do that, a rising tide floats all boats. You're going to win no matter what. If you can grow as an individual and you can develop the power of habit, you're going to win. And now, if it is the focus on personal growth, is it going to be easier to be more resilient when things don't go your way? I didn't get that, or I missed that shot. That's all right. Hey, you know what? I had 3 wins today. I had 3 things that I told myself I was going to do, and now it's become a habit. And I'm growing as a person. So identify those things. Write those down. Journal them. Talk about them. Don't just keep them to yourself. And at the end of the day, at every one of our state tournaments, we have the I Am an Iowa Girl wall. And this started, 4 or 5 years ago we started this. But what is the archetype of the individual? What is it? Force, perseverance, competitive, sportsmanship, determination, focus, effort, powerful, opportunity, precision, explosive. There are so many words to describe the type of individual that we can all become and that we're all capable of doing. It's just a matter of releasing that inner beast in a positive way. If we can focus again, be transformational, be resilient, look at opportunities as a way to grow as a person. And if you can do that as a player, as a teammate, and most importantly as a person, you're going to have a great culture here at Sibley Ocheeden. Questions? I went a little longer than I thought I was going to go, but any questions? Girls, parents, any questions? Advice? Anything? It's tough. There's times, and it doesn't go away when they go to college. My son right now is dealing with that freshman at Drake. You know, he's about 200, and he's going on the scout team with 300-pounders, and every day he comes back. I'm like, hey, how was it, buddy? He's like, oh, welcome to college football. Did you win the day? Focus on the now, okay? Have goals, have dreams, have vision. Focus on the now. And again, I hate that you're going through this, but I love that you're going through this. Extreme ownership, last thing, it's not what you preach, what you tolerate. Setting expectations, substandard performance accepted, no one is accountable. Performance becomes the new standard. Set a standard for yourself. What is it that you're going to become? What is it you're going to do? And hold yourself to that standard and the power of habit, and good things will happen. But thank you very much. Amy, I appreciate you reaching out. If I can ever be of service, anyone here, feel free to reach out to me, shoot me an email. And again, all those lesson plans, if you want to know more information about that, all is available on the Iowa Girls High School Athletic Union website. And good luck. Who's running this weekend? Yes. Now remember, the faster you run, the faster you're done. Right? Excellent. And basketball, who are my basketball players again here? Right on, right on. Awesome. Go get it, set your goals high, and let it rip. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.